Hello everyone, I'm Stram, and welcome to another episode of the Acolyte preview series. This episode is structured a little differently, as I've actually written a script for it and recorded gameplay this time. This episode also marks the opening of beta testing for the 1.2 update to Stram's classes, featuring the Acolyte. If you are interested in becoming a tester, join the Discord in the description for more information. With that being said, let's get into the changes I've made since the last episode. There is now a dedicated accessory slot for vessels. Only vessels can go into this slot, but otherwise they function just the same as before. This was done mostly to give back the accessory slot that they took up previously, without sacrificing the viability of using vessels. I added a new pre-Hardmode accessory called the Forgotten Rune. It is found in ivy chests in the underground jungle or in jungle crates and their Hardmode counterparts. It increases the bonus damage that runes provide to tomes by 2 while equipped. It can be combined with the Runic Talisman at a Tinkerer's Workshop to make the Forgotten Talisman, which does reduce its effectiveness slightly, only providing 1 bonus rune imbuement damage instead of 2. Something I missed last episode was that we could combine our Totem Fracture with our Frost Blossom, and I also increased the base piercing value of the Haunted before it jumps vertically, so it can be a little more effective during the Wall of Flesh. There is another new addition to help with the Wall of Flesh. Using a Demon Soul and your Obsidian Warmonger, you can create the Penumbric Reaper, which is a pretty powerful scythe. It has a slash, like the nice Ice Scythe did, that inflicts Shadow Flame on enemies. All of the changes and additions that I have made since the last episode were mostly made with the Wall of Flesh fight in mind, making it a lot more manageable, because, as I said, it was pretty difficult. As you would expect, the Wall of Flesh now drops an emblem for Acolyte, and it can also be obtained through shimmering the other emblems. The weapon the Wall of Flesh drops for the class is the Necronomicon. Think of it as a successor to the Occult Tome. It has no base rune, but has much higher damage than the Demonic Ritual or most other early Hardmode tomes. Much like Protoplasm is useful throughout the entirety of pre-Hardmode, for pre-Plantera, there's a new material called Shadowplasm. You can either craft it out of Protoplasm in Souls of Night, or farm it from Goblin Warlocks in their Shadow Flame apparitions. With all that in mind, I went to the Crimson and smashed some altars, and while I was getting Palladium, some pirates decided to show up. I quickly crafted the Palladium Rapier to hopefully have a chance, but it did not go well. But after that was done, mining continued, and I got enough Orichalcum to make an anvil and the Orichalcum War Scythe. This allowed me to defend myself a little better while underground, and it didn't disappoint like the Palladium Rapier. It made getting titanium for a titanium bardiche very easy. With some crimson materials I gathered along the way, I was able to make the Second Heart, which is a very good accessory exclusive to Crimson Worlds. It increases your max life by 15% and increases life regeneration slightly also. The gear I had collected so far made the Hardmode Goblin Army easy work. I had a few close calls, but on the second Goblin Army I got what I was looking for. There are vessels that you can get from the Ice Golem and Sand Elemental, but I didn't really want to bother with those since in my current state I probably wouldn't have been able to fight them very well, so I went after Goblin Warlocks and they dropped the Shadow Totem for me. The Shadow Totem will boost nearby allies' life regeneration, and whenever they deal damage, you get healed from it. Now, I don't have any friends in this run, but the Shadow Flame and damage of the totem are good enough for me, as well as the attitude I got, being not too shabby. Pre-mech bosses, there are 2 sets of armor that we can get. The first is Shadow Hex armor, which has a higher focus on dealing damage and offensive capabilities like critical strike chance. Shadow Hex armor is crafted out of adamantite or titanium and Shadowplasm. Its set bonus marks an enemy with a Shadow Flame Hex, and successive hits against that enemy heal you. The other armor set is Infection armor. It focuses more on defense and max life compared to Shadow Hex armor, and it requires the Skeletal armor set to be upgraded with Cursed Flames or Ichor, and then Mithril and Orichalcum bars. Although I am thinking about changing that to Adamantite and Titanium instead. I got a terrible Hallow spawn as it was in my jungle, so I quickly got some bare minimum materials and left. I upgraded my Totem of Revival to the Crystalline Crucifix. The cooldown of the revive was a little longer, but it now revived me to half of max health while making me a little more vulnerable to damage while on cooldown. The Haunted wasn't going to cut it for the damage hard mode bosses were going to start dishing out, so I made the Crystalline Soul. This soul bow splits into 2 more arrows when you hit an enemy that can also lifesteal. I also crafted the Unicorn Spur, and a Thane that leaves damaging pixie dust in its wake upon dashing. A few new runes were available to us also. I crafted the Godslayer spell and the Chaos Bolt. Godslayer spell causes the runes to inflict Ichor, and they sit delayed and fire quickly at whatever gets nearest. The Chaos Bolt causes spells to teleport into a collision course with enemies. I was also able to purchase the Brazen Figure accessory and Dark Conduit rune from the Acolyte NPC now that we were in hard mode. Dark Conduit has a high rune damage and causes runes to penetrate some enemy armor, while the Brazen Figure increases vessel radius by a decent margin and allows vessels to critically strike enemies. I didn't mention it previously, but in the underground desert in the sandstone chests or crates, you can find a larva ring, and combining that with a healing spirit from the dungeon and the Brazen Figure, I quickly upgraded to the Parasitic Infection. It combines the effects of all items, providing a small bonus to max life, life regeneration, and the Brazen Figure's vessel bonuses. I then moved on to fighting the mechanical bosses. I started with the Destroyer but got humbled on the first attempt. To affect my odds, I killed a Hallowed and Crimson Mimic, getting each item on the first try. I got the Rain Prism from the Hallowed Mimic, which was a rune that increases enemy penetration by a lot, useful for worm bosses like the Destroyer or events. The Crimson Mimic dropped Carnage, which was another tome that causes runes to travel all sporadically around, but I decided to keep using the Necronomicon because I knew Carnage was in need of a buff at this current stage. The second attempt at the Destroyer went much better. The hallowed bars and souls of might that it drops can be used to craft a wide variety of items, but I crafted the Sacred Rite and Repentance. Sacred Rite is a powerful tome that causes a divine lightning strike to hit enemies every 7th hit on them. Repentance is a hallowed scythe that has a slash and a smaller slash that travels behind it.
These upgrades didn't give Skeletron Prime much of a chance. Here's how the fight went.
Using the Souls of Fright that he dropped, I was able to craft the Haste of Fear rune. This rune increases the behavior speed of spells when in use. And then after defeating Skeletron Prime, I took a break from this session and did some more work on the back end of the mod. Acolyte prefixes got a bit of an update, and I added a keybind to toggle a vessel in use. That makes it much easier in heated situations to unequip the vessel. I also added a buff potion for Acolyte made from Moonglow, lenses, and jungle spores. It increases occult lifesteal by 15% for 5 minutes. While not new, I also remembered that a rune existed called the Tempest Signet. It dropped from both Wyverns and Angry Nimbus, with a higher drop rate from Wyverns. It causes spells to jump between nearby enemies, but they also expire a lot faster. Then I found myself in a spider biome, farming black recluses for spider fangs and the egg sac. The egg sac is a pre-hard mode accessory that drops from wall creepers, but if you forget to get it before Wall of Flesh like I did, black recluses still drop it. The egg sac provides another rune slot, which I immediately added spider fangs to in order to increase the length of any debuffs or spells inflicted. I fought the twins but lost pretty hard to them. I went to a different section of Underground Hallow and farmed illuminant bats and slimes for the illumination rune, hoping it would help. It causes runes to bounce, but I didn't think that would be too helpful for the twins, and thus began the cycle. Fighting the twins, losing, upgrading gear, repeat. After the second attempt, I made the complementary buckler and serrated edge. The buckler increases defense by 10 while holding a thames or scythes, and when you dash with Occult Blaze, it also provides bonus immunity frames. The serrated edge decreases the cooldown of Occult Blade dashes and increases lifesteal by 15%. Those two accessories can be combined, but not right now, so I went with the complementary buckler as I was lacking defensive capabilities.
2 more attempts at the twins went by before I decided to switch my armor. With the complementary buckler, I was able to survive well enough, so I put on the Shadow Hex armor. That did the trick, and I took the 2 of them down.
Apostate armor is a quite strong set of armor. It provides more max life than Shadow Hex and Infection armor, and the set bonus is kinda crazy. When attacking with occult weapons, it can cause Arcturum soul gems to be created and increases the pickup range for them. With the state it was in when I recorded this, it basically allowed you to never run out of Arcturum, so after I recorded this session, I nerfed it. I also crafted the backup canister and then combined it with the Forgotten Talisman to make the experimental infusion. The backup canister's base effect provides you with a one-time boost to Arcturum. When your Arcturum reaches 0, it instantly gets set to half again, and the canister refills itself when you die or are revived through occult methods, but only while equipped. It also has a base 20 Arcturum bonus to make it not useless when it's not in effect. The experimental fusion upgrade also provides you with a buff when it activates. It increases Arcturum regeneration by a factor of 8 and causes all of your runes to temporarily be counted twice. Before we finish this episode, there are 2 more items that I want to get and show. Both are obtained from a solar eclipse. Reapers can drop the Soul Tether accessory, an item that reduces the negative effects of the Soul Reaping debuff. Lifesteal is normally reduced by 50% when under the effects of Soul Reaping, and your health drains pretty quickly. But with the accessory equipped, lifesteal is reduced by 25% and your health drains half as fast. The other item is a rune that vampires drop called Lifebind. A spiritual successor to the vampiric rune from pre-Hardmode, it lifesteals more than it, and when you collect the healing orbs, it provides a buff to life regeneration and max life for a few seconds. With this buff, it allowed me to reach 1000 life. The Soul Tether can be combined with the second heart as well, so I made that quick upgrade. With that, we're going to end this episode. I am trying to release the update before the end of this year, so temporarily the Paladin series is going to be put on hold while I put my main focus on the update. If you want to become a supporter of the channel and gain early access to updates of my mods, or have your own item in the mod, consider subscribing to my Patreon page. If you are interested in being a beta tester for this update, or engaging more with my community, join the Discord in the description below. If you want to be notified when my videos come out, hit the subscribe button and like the video while you're down there. Also, a big thank you to my current patrons as well. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Bye.